Starting out in 2014, AFEX had a simple goal: unlock capital for the smallest units of businesses in Africa, the smallholder farmers. How we have sought to solve problems of market access, low productivity, and no capital has been a journey of pretty significant wins and lessons. We started with a core fundamental of investing in infrastructure, evolving our solution to deliver the most impact for the commodity sector on the continent.
Some of the challenges for the food system in Africa are that we struggle with low productivity. The population is expected to double by 2050, and most of Africa is still heavily import dependent. A large part of that challenge is because there are many small farmers and large processors who don't seem to find each other. So the solutions that AFEX offers includes access to inputs to increase productivity, access to finance to be able to use those inputs, as well as access to markets so that we aggregate from many of the small farmers and then supply high quality traceable volumes to the large buyers.
Having warehouses across is a logical first step for us to go through. Once you establish that, then the second level will now be what's the basis for computing what the price of these commodities would be. When you have data captured, the next step will now be being able to make decisions around that. When we started in Nigeria, we started by renting warehouses across the country, a few of them in Kaduna State. So in 2022, we started the construction of our processing plant in Kaduna State. And the idea for us was to be able to take quality commodities from just animal feed industry to human consumption. And on the back of that, we're able to have a processing plant that has the capacity to turn over 100,000 metric tons in processed grains on an annual basis.
The warehouse is a 7-bay warehouse. Each bay is a 10,000 metric ton warehouse. So we have 7 of that. So in total, we're going to have a storage facility of 60,000 metric tons. And the 7th bay will be used as a cleaning facility, which should be 100,000 metric tons annually.
Our investments in warehouse and storage infrastructure were a necessary step in executing our vision. Investments in technology infrastructure soon proved to be just as relevant in achieving our goals.
It was a conscious decision to layer technology on a physical infrastructure and not the other way around. So our investment there has actually made our technology stack from an enterprise resource management for farmer engagement, commodities aggregation, warehouse inventory stock keeping, up to a system where you could seamlessly buy and sell commodities without having to physically be on ground.
On the back of our physical and technology infrastructure, we enabled an ecosystem of players to meet and interact. The financial markets could be more seamlessly integrated with the commodities markets, allowing for money to flow into the sector to facilitate improved productivity and efficient trade.
There is a gap in the financing of the agricultural value chain. And if you look at it very well, that's the whole idea of a commodities exchange, being able to attract capital for players in the ecosystem. So for us, a decision to get players from the capital markets involved in this ecosystem is not one that randomly occurred, but part of our strategic drive in promoting food security for the continent. People with financing want transparency in their business dealings, right? They need a process that ensures that capital flow is predictable and the time surrounding it is something they could bet on. So when we decided to start introducing capital market players into this ecosystem, it was on the back of 2 key activities. The first is availability of warehouses where we could guarantee quality and quantity of the commodities. The second key part is the core development that has gone into our tech product stack. Project Black Elephant sought to increase our business acumen by growing our turnover 10 times over a 5-year period, which was a very, very audacious and impossible goal at the time when we set it. Unfortunately for us, because of the play we've had in the market over the previous years around physical warehouses, which is a key component of the infrastructure, we're able to achieve that within a short period of time. The model AFEX operates in Nigeria is one that has proven to be of tremendous success. We need to be able to replicate this success across other key African countries which is a key driver for our project Black Panther.
So we started our Africa expansion journey 3 years ago. So we are aiming to be in 10 different countries, both in East and in West Africa in the next 5 years. We started in Kenya and we are currently in our 3rd season of operations in Kenya. This season we are aiming to aggregate 100,000 metric tons of maize from the farmers in our network. We're also very proud that we were the first private operator to obtain the license from the Warehouse Receipt System Council in Kenya. In Uganda, we are currently in our 2nd season, and Uganda is a very specific environment with a humid climate, but also 2 seasons in a year. What is very important because of the climate is that we control quality from the farm level. So we're very proud that we've already set up a significant outreach program where we provide farmers with input packages, helping farmers with proper post-harvest processing and storage to allow us to supply their volumes to the processors in country. For Côte d'Ivoire, it's our 1st season of operations, and one of the main achievements is that we were able to obtain a cocoa trading permit for this 1st year. So this year we're starting cocoa and maize in Côte d'Ivoire.
We go boldly into the next phase of our growth story, simultaneously tackling a strategic goal to grow our business 10x with an African expansion drive that's key for facilitating intra-Africa trade.
Future for us at AFEX is to build a system where the food security of the continent is guaranteed.
We currently have about 500,000 farmers in our network.
And on the back of that, we have a vision, firstly, of being the reference point for commodities across Africa. And for us to achieve that, we believe in the nearest future, we should have access to 1 million smallholder farmers directly, with an annual turnover of physical commodities of not less than 1 million metric tons on an annual basis.
When we do so, we should be able to not only improve the livelihoods of those farmers that we work with, but also improve food security for the wider population in those countries.